understood why at the end of the school year, like, we always had like 2 like half days in a row. That's like the last season.
Listen,
like, why
don't talk
we
to me about why we're
just
so
do
in
one
school.
full
Hey everybody, welcome to the Nights of the Drunk Watch. We just finished watching episode 6 of Westworld season 2.
Sure did.
Phase Space. I'm trying to learn what that was and don't know what that is, so hopefully we'll discover what it is. No, we're not going to discover what it is. So my name is Zach.
I'm Crystal.
I'm Kate.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Mark.
And we are the Nights of the Drunk Watch.
And
now our talk
begins.
begins.
Ooh, so clean.
We
So-
did it all fucking
I know.
weekend.
Alright, so
Alright, so let's just start with the very little snippet that we got at the beginning that we thought was going to be a bigger deal, but then we didn't talk about for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Arnold and Dolores meetings.
So,
Are they real?
they're real, I think.
what is real? What is real?
My guess,
Yeah, it's just, oh,
my
man, it's
guess
nuts.
is that that scene is like at the end of
Last season.
this season.
Uh-huh.
It's like the end of, like at the, because I felt like this entire episode was all at the same time.
Do you think so?
Yeah, except for that, like, because Maeve in Shogun World and Dolores.
I mean, that makes
building
sense
the
because we
train.
have that unifying thing of the bomb at the end where Elsie feels...
Right.
I didn't feel like
Yeah.
there was
Elsie-
any
'cause
time
Elsie's-
jumping.
Because Bernard hasn't been reunited with Hale yet. So Hale and that new guy that came in,
Coughlin.
yeah, which was I mark as the post Revolution timeline.
Mhm.
This all seems like in the meat of the Revolution timeline, except for that scene is probably at the end of all the timeline, arc of this season, because now she's because I think Dolores is running through that last moment with Arnold before he killed himself
That actually...
to try to sort something out.
Yeah.
And so when he didn't say what he said, she stopped him and said, "That's not what you said." So, I think-
Well,
I don't
also
know.
we did see in the preview for the next episode a whole room of
Bernard.
Bernards.
Right.
So she could take a Bernard
right, she could take a
to
Bernard,
swap out for Bernard, swap out for
and
other
she-
Bernard,
and she's trying to get maybe her own Bernard to wake up.
and be somewhat
Hmm.
passable Bernard, so she could swap him. Coconut shell game.
I don't know.
Or, I mean, even...
Part of me disagrees.
What do you think it is?
I'm thinking that this whole time Dolores has been woke, and that she's been in charge of the Bernard robots
But that just
since the beginning.
but that nullifies all last season.
How
What do
would
you
that
mean?
nullify
If she was
last
woke
season?
the whole time,
Not
then that means
necessarily,
all-
because
But the
even when
scene-
she becomes woke, or when
Yeah.
you see her become woke,
But-
her transition is not as drastic.
Right.
Granted, I guess you would say every robot is going to react differently, but her transition was not as big as, let's say, Maeve.
But-
Maeve's was this huge thing, and then with Dolores, it was kind of just like, meh.
But she got woke and decided to murder everybody.
Well, no, yes.
How
I
is
agree.
that not a big, like,
I don't
sweet
think.
little rapeable
I'm not
Dolores
saying. I'm not
murder
saying
and burn
that-
it down?
I'm not saying that is not the drastic. I almost feel like this whole time this is something Ford has had planned from the beginning, since Arnold killed himself.
Well, he kept
This
going
plan
on
is
and on about
old,
his new narrative.
And it's been forever, and it's been in the works for as long as he could think of.
but I think the
but what does that have to do with Arnold, with Dolores being in control? Now it's Ford's
Arnold?
plan.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Annette.
Well, if we remember last season too, Ford showed, or rather Bernard came in and saw the secret laboratory that Ford had. And all of the schematics for Arnold as Bernard.
For
aka
Bernard, yeah.
Yeah.
Where,
And
yeah.
that's where we got that whole scene. I forgot my fucking train of
Yeah,
thought.
now you're
You
like
lost
way,
it.
now you're
No,
way off
I
on
was
something else.
there. No, okay, so
Well, here,
but
now, let me stop you.
Ford then would make Dolores and say, okay, you're the oldest robot. You're the one in charge of Bernard now because you've been around forever. You know the mannerisms. You know the improvisation. Blah, 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 blah.
I just don't. That
Either
doesn't.
that or she
it makes
figured
the
out
whole.
that he's a robot.
No,
he's not a human being.
if Dolores was in charge the whole time, it makes the whole game and the maze and you know why I can't help you because you killed me. It makes all of that nullified.
I don't think. But the scene that she's replaying that we saw at the beginning that she was correcting was the scene between her and Arnold.
Hi, Grandma.
Yes.
It's a family affair here.
Grandma's watching too.
What I think is she is plucked a Bernard stand-in and is trying to boot up some passable story so she can get Bernard, because Bernard is valuable.
Oh, absolutely.
Bernard, I think, knows more than he remembers.
Do you think
Valuable
she's
enough
building
to make several Bernards.
a Bernard or a Ford? Or an Arnold, sorry.
No, a Bernard. I think she's trying to pass him off.
But does she know that there is a Bernard? Does she even know that? Well, we know she did. Because you worked with Bernard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what she could be doing is, that's one thing, is like the Bernard that we found on the beach at the very beginning
Could be a decoy.
could maybe not be the Bernard that's with Elsie right now.
So we have two Bernards.
So we might end up with two Bernards.
Oh.
Which we have a room full, so there
We have a room full.
boy.
Now this may jump us ahead because
Why can't we have a room full of teddies?
Or
Naked
Hectors.
I'm sure there is that room.
I
Just
was
haven't
gonna
seen it.
say that room.
Let's
probably
go to
exists.
that.
yeah, so it may be that, because I did always found it strange, despite the fact that Hale and Bernard got separated. I did find it strange that, like, Bernard she just showed up on the beach and they accepted him as a human being because it'd been 3 weeks. Did they say?
Like 11 days, 14 days.
Or something. It'd been a long time. It seems to me he would have starved. If he was a real person, he would have starved to death by that point. Running around Westworld by himself.
Oh, that's true. None of the humans that are running around with them, they haven't been eating.
Well, we don't see those scenes. I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm sure they take poops and
11
showers
days.
too. But
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure, like, the Man in Black, old William, is probably...
He's got jerky.
He certainly
He's
went
just
into
got
a
a
bar.
bag full of
He's
jerky.
got a bag
Yeah,
of jerky.
You enter Westworld and they say, here's your bag of jerky.
here's your rations.
Well, I mean, they obviously had a cook fire. He left Cookie with his daughter.
Yeah.
All right, so what's on? I get, and also they put scenes in there to confuse us.
Yeah.
Dr. Lee says
Absolutely.
11 days.
Yeah, that's what I
Thank you.
So
you.
there are scenes that are set up to just confuse us.
Yeah.
Which ones?
There's a lot of
half
them.
of them.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but just, like, if you can't fit them in the timeline,
Yeah,
you don't know
they
what
give
to-
you like half the information, and then there you go.
Yeah.
So, what was the point of Shogun World?
That there is an alternative to their life. There are choices to make, and that you can go down several different paths.
Well, and clearly you can have a doppelganger.
Yeah.
Wait,
In
which
other
one is
worlds.
Shogun World?
With the Japanese.
Japanese.
Oh, I thought they had other
It's basically like showing you, Kate, that there is an alternative universe where.
Just for me?
Well, just like there's
Yes,
if
just
there's
for you.
Exactly.
there's
Yeah. They're like, we need to write a scene for Kate Lancaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That won't make her be like, what was the point of that scene? You fucking failed.
But the point was to show like alternate universes where you can become something different. So I guess you cherish who you
but-
are and who.
I mean, but the
But
only,
they're-
like, it humanized Maeve, I guess, or showed us her power. I guess that's the only thing that it did, is that it gave us that place where someone could be like, no, you totally speak Japanese. Everybody does.
Right,
So
but
then
they're
now
not
she can
exactly doppelgangers. It's just like the same type of characters. Like,
well,
we have the madam. We have a madam in.
Well, no,
every
but they had like
world.
the same heist thing. It was the same
Yeah,
exact
that was
script.
weird.
I think it kind of it showed the hosts that they're not unique. Like, they're not unique.
Yeah.
You
Their
know,
stories
that-
are not unique.
and but it also it was the impetus. That whole storyline gave Maeve the impetus to access the network mentally, to where she could actually mentally tell you to cut your head off,
Yeah.
rather than say anything.
But character-wise, that there could be a different ending that Maeve is not seeing, and that's okay. She can make a choice that doesn't give her a happy ending.
Well,
and-
but now
and
she
that's-
has her daughter.
That is a possibility. And that shows her that as an
her
alternative.
so-called fake daughter.
Well,
So-
Dr.
Now
Lee,
that she let her.
Dr. Lee says
daughter's
Shogun
mother
World was a
died.
waste of
I
time.
kind of feel like that is true, Dr. Lee.
I don't think so. I
I thought it was fun. I had a
It's
good
like
I mean, it was fun, but it was a whole lot. Like,
but again, it's like
a whole
showing
lot.
you, Kate, that there's an alternate universe where you're like, the president of the world.
Yeah.
So you
Yes,
know that's a
please.
possibility. Like so then you can so when you go back to your world, your universe, you can live a different life and make different choices.
But that, I mean,
Because Maeve has always lived in this bubble
Mm-hmm.
that she's only known these people.
That's it.
So seeing a separate an alternate universe almost, where different choices are made and different things happen on their own, because they were all somewhat sentient.
But it also showed that the hosts were beginning to like run their own stories, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
That if they weren't just going completely off the reservation and just butchering people, they continue, because that's why Lee was like going, that's not supposed to happen, that's not supposed to happen, because it was on a story of its own.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't on a story that Lee had written.
Okay. Let's see. Next we have. Let's talk about the Man in Black and his daughter.
Weird.
William.
Weird. It was weird.
I feel like this is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Family drama.
Yeah, well, and I think the big thing is he was kept testing her to see if she wasn't a host.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
From William's perspective, that makes complete sense.
Because
Yes.
right away he
Agreed.
thought that Ford had made a host of his daughter to
Yeah.
test him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He kept testing her like when he said, "Oh, you're afraid of the elephants," and she's like, "No, I wasn't." But I also think that it was kind of it gave William an out, because part of the reason he went in this last time was because his wife had killed herself and his daughter blamed him for it, and he thought he had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And she comes in to say, basically give him out. He could have just said, let's go out and rebuild our relationship. Instead, he let her sleep in and he took off without her.
Sure, yeah.
So
what does that say? What is he?
I
hoping to
think
happen?
when going back to what you said about her not liking elephants, I think that also harkens back to the fidelity test that he gave his father-in-law, and how I think William forgot that that's not his wife; it's his daughter. Like he mixed up memories.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
think that's also a fidelity test of we also break down at the end.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we all have our expiration date basically.
what?
Him,
We all have
Mentally.
limits to our mental capacity.
I think
so,
he
like,
confused that. Like he said, you don't like the elephants, not his mom. I think he was confused. Like he confused those memories.
Oh, see, I thought he was testing her, because if she said, "Oh yeah, I was afraid of the elephants," he would know that she was just.
No, his face was like, oh,
Feeding back.
okay, all right, oh yeah, like it was. Oh yeah. You're right. Like it just seemed like to me, it looked like he just kind of forgotten there for a little bit. He's getting older. I mean, he's you know.
and also he spent so much time in this
In
Right.
this world.
false reality
Yeah.
that it would make sense that it would start to like bleed away his former life.
Like Dr. Lee is saying, I think the daughter coming in to take Daddy home, I just don't why.
Well,
That I
that's
don't
not what
get
she was
either.
there for in the first place. Hale somehow told her she should go.
When everything went to hell, she was like, "Oh, I need to get my dad
Yeah.
out of
Go.
here
Yeah.
and go." But
Or
she
when
originally
ended
went
up in Westworld. Yeah.
right. I don't know. I don't know if I like that plot.
Yeah.
Now she has to look for her daddy again. Okay.
She's
All
kind
right.
of blah character-wise.
I mean,
Well,
I
we've
think
only
she
had 2
really-
episodes of
We
her.
don't know much about
Yeah.
her yet.
She just feels like a very obvious obstacle.
I don't like it.
Obstacle?
Wait, now is she
Yeah,
the
for
same
the Man in
one
Black because
who
she
was trying to get it on with the guy, but she said,
Yes.
"I need to shoot you"?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that
Yeah.
was her in the
Yeah.
pleasure houses.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that she's just there to kind of whether this is the point in the show or like as part of the show plot or this is just kind of what the show writers did, but she just feels like something to slow him down.
Or I guess to make him more human.
Dr. Lee feels like that her showing up was a bit forced, but he enjoyed Ed Harris's acting in those scenes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Ed Harris.
Ed
was
Harris.
great.
Yeah.
Let's see. What about New Teddy?
Ooh.
I don't like it.
I think it would be better if he just took his shirt off.
I mean, that's always true. Drink.
Yes.
That's always true.
Listen, he's kind of sexy, but I had a underlining feeling that Dolores was not going to be happy with how he turned out.
But
Well, like
Because
she
upped his
wasn't
aggression.
satisfied with him being a wimp and not shooting anyone. And now that he
But
is
now,
all, like,
in
shooting
both
people.
iterations, he still doesn't follow what she wants.
Mm.
He just went and shot that guy out of nowhere.
Typical woman, you
That's
can't
that's
tell
not
what
what
she wants.
that's not what she wanted. She wanted to get the information.
Yeah,
That's what she wanted.
Yeah.
And Teddy's like, bah, bam, I'm done.
I'm done.
Which is the opposite of what other Teddy would. He still is not following her directions, which I
But
think,
he is a different.
which I think is going to be a different problem for her in the long run.
Which
Agreed.
is seeming, but she.
Because
What it's seeming that she reprogrammed him.
she
right?
did,
Yes.
but Dolores is more calculated. Teddy is he's more.
Now he's a bull in a china shop.
Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
really spontaneous, and I think that's gonna be a problem for her because if she's trying to calculate, or she needs time to think of all of her options, and he's gonna go rogue on her every time. Who has time for that shit?
Well, you don't.
You know,
Especially
and
because
then
she has a plan.
and she has to be the leader. She cannot
What
be in
is
number
her
2.
plan?
Just burn it all down.
I was gonna say, yeah,
So they like exploded the mesa,
yeah.
or I mean a little bit.
Yeah,
Of
there
it.
you go. Bomb it
section of
and
it.
destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
But Dr. Lee feels like Teddy's the only character that's developing in that storyline
Yeah,
and makes it
Yeah.
bearable.
Which storyline?
The
Dolores
Wyatt.
is.
the Dolores Wyatt. story.
Well, I feel like Dolores is gonna come. It's been for me. It's been too easy for Dolores.
Right.
Like everything has been like
so-
really easy for her. So I feel like in
something
the last
bad needs to
the
happen
last
now
couple
for her.
episodes, something's gonna happen where it's really gonna slow her down.
She needs to find an obstacle that she cannot overcome, and that obstacle may be Teddy.
He may kill her
Yeah,
in the end.
being able to.
She may kill him.
She
Well,
needs to.
We already
I mean,
know
we
what
thought
that we're
she
gonna
was
find
going
his
to.
body in the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, his body's in the sea.
But if
After
I don't know if y'all
another 11
I don't know
days.
if y'all noticed when before they were loading the train and they were interrogating that guy,
Yeah.
there was a fly noise.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And I didn't see a fly.
I didn't.
So I'm wondering, is that what is that?
Well, especially, are you talking about in relation to last season? Since
Because
last season
she
flies
just-
were so prominent.
When she described the fly, it was what spread the disease
Yes.
Oh, right.
in her cow analogy.
Yeah,
Yes.
her cow
And that's why she had to they had to burn the other cows and it smelled for days. So when Teddy was walking up to the train when they were interrogating that guy, there was this buzzing sound.
I heard
It was a
that.
fly, but I was looking for a fly like on his hat or like and I didn't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought
Somewhat-
the cat had brought something.
So I'm wondering what that has some significance.
I
if
mean,
you're
I
not
think it could even just be like the imagery of that's the first time we see
is Teddy the fly?
Let me finish my sentence. That's the first time we see Dolores cause harm, and we're triggered into there's something deeper here.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's just a throwback to Teddy's about to wreck shit. Like he's about to kill a human, which he shouldn't be able to do. And I don't know if Teddy's done that yet.
So Teddy was the fly.
No.
Well,
No,
No,
the fly, in episode 1, season 1, when Dolores says, "Oh, I could never harm a living thing," and then she kills a fly on her
Kills a
neck.
fly. The fly is an indication that the person can kill a living thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I see what you're
I'd have to
saying.
go
Zach.
rewatch that scene.
Yeah,
to
that
tell
seems
you
a
it's
little.
fly.
No,
seems
but
a little
no, it is
vague
kind
of
of
a-
maybe hinting that someone is about to break their code, or someone's about to do something that they wouldn't normally do.
Okay.
Or be allowed to do.
I
in the
mean,
parameters
that's a
that
good
fit.
little thing to put in there. It's one of those most people might not notice it, or
Mm-hmm.
some people might hear the buzzing of fly. I heard it too.
We'll have to go back and look at it. I'm
Yeah.
curious. Now, okay, so next nugget, I guess.
What about Maeve and her daughter?
I mean, we all knew this was going to come to a head
Yeah.
of like Maeve has great intentions, but also she's been written out of this
If
storyline
she's
for
been reprogrammed
for how
someone else,
long? For 10
she
years?
really think that they wouldn't put
No,
someone else
was
in
it
to be
10
the
years
mother?
that she's been the madam?
It's been a
No,
while.
she thinks she's been the
She
madam
thinks
for
she's
10
been a
years.
madam for 10
She's only
years.
been there for 10 months.
She was rewritten more recently. What I find interesting is she seemed to recognize that her daughter wouldn't recognize her right away. Yet she seemed to be oblivious to the fact that her daughter
would
would
be
have a new mother.
Oh,
And she was very dismissive of the mother. Those people started writing
Yeah,
up, and she's
yes.
like,
For a
come little
year.
girl, we're running away, but we're not even going to attempt
She
to
yelled
save
run.
your new mother.
She
did
yelled
yell
run
run.
at New Mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
She yelled run in general, so take that as a warning if you may.
Yeah.
But I
That's,
guess
uh,
maybe
But,
that's
but this Ghost Nation wasn't there to kill everybody.
Yeah.
they didn't kill the mom.
Yeah. Cause
So they were there to.
Did they?
Take them on their path. 'Cause
They have
they're all
similar
going
on the
path.
same path. Because see, the Ghost Nation now is doing something different. Like they
Yeah.
captured all those humans, including Ashley,
Didn't
and they
kill
let them
them.
go.
Yeah.
More wine.
Hand me your glass.
That works.
That's what we usually do.
But now she's figured out, because I think kind of the only reason that she went to Shogun World is to realize that she can speak Lakota to the Ghost Nation. So do you think that she can control them though? Because she didn't actually.
No, she didn't, did
She
she?
just talked to them.
Yeah.
Did she even attempt to?
No,
I
I
don't
don't
think.
think
I don't
so.
know.
No, but he also. I mean, I'm just surprised she didn't react faster to the idea that he didn't just try to scalp her, but he was like,
Yeah.
"Come with me if you want to live." I mean, it was like.
Yeah.
This is not the
Alright,
Terminator.
But it's like, so going back to new mommy,
Mm-hmm.
Bargain Basement Maeve, I feel like she has a hard time recognizing herself and others.
Mm-hmm.
Like she had a hard time recognizing herself in Akane,
Honey.
and then like this, like Andrew said, she didn't figure there's another person in her place.
Well,
So,
no,
like,
she recognized herself in Akame pretty quickly. And this was like the opposite of that. 'Cause she walked in and said, "We know how this story ends, and let's work together."
Mm-hmm.
And she recognized that the Akame though had a
Is that
daughter
the other
figure
madam?
in the
What's
Madam
the
world where
Japanese?
Maeve did not.
Like the Madame Geisha, is that who that was?
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the possibility of when Maeve saw her daughter again and was in the place where all of this shit went down for her, that she reverted to how she behaved or how she thought initially.
she seemed to
So
play.
that's why
I don't know.
I feel like she looked like she was scared to death.
She seemed to play a very good third person. Like, "Hi, little girl. How are you? Are these your
I'm
dollies? Are
talking
these
about
your?"
When Ghost
as
Nation
she's-
showed up.
When
Oh.
Ghost Nation showed up. Because
I think that's trauma. Like, I think
the
that
trauma,
makes sense
yeah,
that
it just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that
Well-
affected
Trauma
her so
lingers.
deeply that she couldn't try to do anything.
Well, and the
else.
reason they reprogrammed her to be the Madam is because she couldn't get over the Man in Black shooting her daughter in front of her. You know, that got seared into her programming, and they had to like rewrite her entirely.
Yeah.
So now that she found her daughter, now what?
Well, she's
Convince
gonna
her daughter
have
to-
get her daughter woke because her daughter right now does not think that it's her mom.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think so either.
Well, and
She
yeah, we
might
we
grow
left
to
it in the
love
middle.
her as a mom since her other mom probably got killed, and she's like, "Thank you, other woman who looks kind of just like my real mom
Yeah,
who saved
because-
me."
yeah.
There's a and so, again, thanks to Shogun World, Maeve has to learn that everyone has their free choice. So her daughter has to make a free choice of whether she wants to go with her or possibly just stay there.
Yeah.
But
she can't-
Could she just speak into her mind and be like, "I'm"?
But
your
that's
mother?
That's not making her woke.
it's not.
That's influencing
Acknowledging-
her to make her
But she
to-
could.
She could, of course, she can, but that's not acknowledging what they're trying to accomplish. I don't know. Next nugget.
The last is like Bernie and Elsie and their whole situation.
Cradle.
Oh, man.
I feel like you need
I
to
think we
watch
all
this.
knew
So
that.
one,
Okay.
I feel like just my biggest thing is that this is very much they could have been planning this the whole time, but here's this long established thing that we've never mentioned that will change everything altogether. Like, what the fuck is the cradle? Have they ever mentioned it before? And now
No.
it's
I don't
this
think
integral
so.
piece of like.
Well, but you got to realize that the
Information.
first season, the main storyline, like the present day storyline, was about a week. Yeah, it was
But at some point, I feel like if you have this whole, like, backup hard drive, at some point, one of the techs in the background could have mentioned it.
It's possible. Maybe they did. But let's go back and rewatch it. But it's
I don't think
it's
they've ever
also.
mentioned it.
But when you go to a new season, you have to have new places to go to.
Yeah.
So even if the
Yeah,
cradle
the
was
cradle
always
was
there,
one.
they didn't just invent it for season 2. It was something they probably saved for season 2.
I just don't I feel like they could have.
But they mentioned it this episode, and they went there in a minute.
Yeah,
Yes.
like it was one of those things.
Let's go to the
of-
cradle. What the what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Here it
the
is.
cradle, the thing that we all know about.
The
That's a big,
central
big
nervous
thing.
system
That's
of
super
it,
big,
yeah.
and it's a thing, and we all know about it.
Yeah, and I
It's
think
the phase shift. Or
The-
whatever it's called.
I think
Well, see,
the
if they could have
forgiveness-
mentioned it maybe a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
Or it just,
I know what they were
just
Or like
said the
hail.
word the cradle.
Well, because that's another thing is if it was kind of mentioned in passing, we might have missed it.
I feel like we would have
Yeah.
at least like.
Yeah, because
I mean,
the
'cause-
cradle
'cause
Like
is
she
someone
so
needs
mentioned
to
the cradle.
rewatch the entire
She said it-
series.
She mentioned the cradle, and then she said it was like real quickly something about being all the backups of the hose.
Yeah.
Well, she said the new operatives are coming from the cradle. We didn't find that information out until
Yeah, the
This
stuff
This
that was
episode.
like every time the cradle. Because the thing is I think every time the cradle tried to reset a host with their backup of their coding, something blocked it.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that would be to be present in the cradle.
And it said that it has interfaced with everything in the last 7 days. So,
Yes.
like, it
Yeah.
has touched everything, and that it's changing and fighting back. Like, it's behaving differently than it usually
well, we
does.
found out Ford is in the cradle.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because our assumption is that Ford's digital self, was what Bernard went to get out of the secret lab, which I'm still confused how he had Elsie locked up in the cave, which was outside the door to that secret lab.
That was the back
Different
door.
secret- Wasn't it a different secret lab?
That was the back door.
I thought it was a different secret lab.
No,
was
because
the same
when
one.
he went in with Elsie,
Zach
they
knows all
found
about the back door.
I know about the back
what's
door.
his face,
Drake.
the father-in-law at where Man in Black had abandoned him.
But they said this was the back door.
No, I said it was the back door.
No, they said it was like the back.
Secret
Yeah,
entrance.
it wasn't the main entrance.
Okay.
I just thought I thought that was a completely different.
Because that makes sense. Like there's
Side
oh, look, who's
lab.
this dead girl? Huh?
No,
Whatever.
because no, Bernard and Hale were in a different lab.
Yeah.
But then when Bernard went and got Elsie, then he went, no, let's go back, and he found the secret entrance, and he went in. That was where
Ford.
Miss Delos' copy was,
Right.
and where Bernard had gone to pick up the
Oh,
brain,
yeah.
where he killed all the techs on the outside
Right.
of Delos' room.
Yeah.
Right.
And Delos was still in his room,
Right.
you know, breaking down or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I think that that's not the entrance that William would go in every time.
Okay,
No.
okay.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah,
but we.
we're assuming though that what he went to pick up in that lab
Yeah.
was
Yeah. It was Ford.
was Ford's
Ford.
digital self,
I feel like we-
and then he put it into the cradle.
I feel like we all called that.
So Dr. Lee
Clear.
says that he likes Bernie and Elsie with their tech geek chemistry. I really do too.
I do.
Like, I'm glad that Elsie's back because I really feel like she brings a levity to the situation. And he, like, Bernard even mentions, like, oh, I like your optimism because she's just like, she is just a geek. Like,
Yeah.
she is just geeking out. Even when shit's going bad, she's like, ooh, it's going bad.
Yeah,
How'd they do that? Like,
My question is, how exciting is it going to be when Bernard and Arnold have to sit down and talk it out for half an episode?
Bernard and Arnold or Bernard and Ford?
What?
Bernard and Ford. I'm sorry,
Bernard and
Oh.
Ford.
because they're not gonna have a fight. They're not gonna have like a knife or gun fight.
ooh,
Right.
but the
Well, no, that's why
acting,
the
Zach.
acting-
Oh, the acting.
is gonna be
Yeah.
so
man.
good.
Because I mean, is Bernard gonna try to convince Ford to stop it, put it back?
I don't know.
I don't
Or
think
is Ford
so.
going to reveal
The big plan.
the big plan?
That would be.
We know what the
awesome,
big-
too.
Okay, go
But
ahead.
we- but
I'm sorry.
I don't think we do
This
know
is
the big
this is
plan.
a nugget we didn't talk about, but
No, we can't talk about nuggets. That we no.
yeah. No, I mean I don't want to interrupt this conversation to move on once we're done with that.
I'm just curious what is Bernard gonna do now that he found out it's Ford? Okay, now I mean it's Ford. I mean Ford has his fingers in all the pots, so what is he gonna
Well,
do?
now we're gonna
Like
probably find out what he's got planned.
Planned. Absolutely.
find out how fucked we are. So I'm just saying
Yeah.
Yeah.
that Bernard can't really do much of anything.
Anything about it? No.
Okay.
So Charlotte, mentioned something about something being at an auxiliary lab 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we have our scene. We finally have that scene from the preview trailer in next week.
She's about Abernathy.
Yeah, Abernathy's in 3.
I don't know. See, I'm thinking.
Because I asked her to have it secured. She's like, yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
Abernathy.
she's talking about
Okay.
Abernathy.
Well, I don't know, the way I'll now have to go back and listen to it because I felt like there was still something else somewhere else, and then
maybe
and then she it felt like she was referring to.
it's not like the show doesn't double talk, Andrew.
where she and Bernard were
right
because like I'm beginning to question whether she doesn't know who Bernard is and has been playing him.
So you're saying
I
you
don't think she
think
does
Charlotte knows Bernard's skull's been ripped open and is now in the cradle?
No, that she knows Bernard is a host, but because he got into that lab when it was also supposed to be human DNA testing. She knows Bernard is a host, but has been playing him as a non-host because she had use for him.
Yeah.
Huh.
That her discovery of the multiple Bernards is something she knew about.
She was double timing him the whole time. That's possible.
But May was listening closely enough, and he was specifically asking about the data, which she was saying that's locked down.
It's locked down. It's not going anywhere. Oh, poor daddy. Poor Papa. Any more nuggets, Kate?
No, that was it.
Okay, so that finishes our after talk. Nice and tight tonight, y'all. Nice and tight. So if you
a question.
Question
for Dr. Lee.
Go ahead, Dr. Lee.
Do you
We're
guys
listening.
feel like there's a bit too much vagueness about the season?
Yes.
Are they holding back too much?
I think that there is a lot going on, and there's gonna be a big culmination of all the different storylines and a big oh shit moment.
Well, and they have to be vague because all the timelines are so mashed together.
But
the timelines are much closer.
These timelines I feel like are easier to follow compared to the first season. We didn't even realize in the first season how many timelines were going on.
Yeah. And
until
now,
towards the end.
Now we're trained.
That was the trick of that season.
So I do feel like that I'm following the storyline much better this season than I was last season.
Let's see. So this was episode 6.
It was 10.
And I think episode 8 was when things started coming together last season.
I'm not gonna be here for episode 8.
And the thing is this episode was the first time I felt like we had multiple storylines, but they all seem to be in the same timeline. We're happening at the same time.
So you think we're converging?
Right.
Well,
as opposed to a little
everything
bit
is
of young William, and then a little bit of Bernard after he got discovered on the beach, and a little bit of Bernard with Elsie. It was like Bernard and Elsie, Charlotte Hale.
Let's
with
check
Abernathy.
in with everybody. This is what they're all doing.
It was the phase shift. All the different states all tied to the same timeline.
To answer Dr. Lee's question directly, I feel like yes, I feel like they are being a little vague, but I feel like they're talking about something that they all know about. Like there's a given or a constant that we don't know. I guess maybe will be revealed when Ford's like.
Well, they want there to be a big surprise.
They're all robots or something like that.
Like last year, we had the big surprise that William and the Man in Black were the same person, and that we've been running two different timelines. I wasn't surprised.
I wasn't.
You weren't surprised?
All right, so that's been our talk back. That's been our talk back. So if you like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon to know when we go live and post new videos. I'll be posting the rest of our Comic Palooza panels this week.
If you want to listen to me talk about Game of Thrones
for 3 hours, you can go check us out. Hi to all of our new viewers and people we met this past week. We had lots of fun at Comic Palooza. If you want to see pictures of us, you can go to our Facebook and you can see all the fun we had at Comic Palooza and our panels on YouTube. And if you want to support our channel and help us recoup from Comic Palooza monetarily wise, you can go to Patreon, give us $1. We have podcasts now. You get exclusive content from our podcast, and you also get exclusive content from us. And that's everything I have to say.
Yeah, and just to quickly answer,
go for it.
Probably episode 8 or 9 when things will start to really fit together.
Yeah, hopefully.
But that's what happened last season.
Congeal,
That's a typical HBO season.
All right, Andrew.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, so we are the Knights of the Drunk Watch.
And
now
our
our
talk
talk has ended.
ended.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you maybe, I think, next Wednesday. We'll talk about it later.
We will.
Stay tuned.
Look for the schedule for our next time.